So I am a developer, a speaker, and a teacher, and I've done some combination of those three things professionally for about 10 years. I've written production software. I have spoken at tech conferences now all over the world. I've been at some of the most amazing tech conferences. It's an amazing thing, super excited to be here. I've taught people through boot camps. I've taught people through online content. Hundreds of thousands of people have consumed my content in some way or another. And I didn't know this early on. I need to find another place to move around. I didn't know this early on. If you would have asked me in high school, college, do you want to be a teacher? Never in my life would I have said that. But through content, I found that I love to teach. I use content creation as a way to teach and inspire the developer community, and hopefully you'll be able to walk away with some of that today. Now, there's one kind of update I want to make to this. So I kind of refer to myself as a speaker. I've done this professionally for a long time. But as of January of this year, I got to promote that to a keynote speaker, which is a big opportunity for me, a big next step in my career as a speaker. I should have a cue, like if I say something funny and nobody laughs, I should have a cue, or if I want a round of applause, I should do that. Thank you for starting that. And most importantly, and most relevantly, almost exactly a year ago today, I became a full-time content creator. It's probably why I'm apt to talk about the impact that it's had on my career. But what's funny though, if you tell that to a different audience, this is probably the reaction that you would get. I think we're a younger audience for the most part. If you tell someone, an older generation, that you're a full-time content creator, this is what they're going to say. They're going to judge it. They're going to question its validity. They're going to question it being a real job. They're going to question that as an actual way to pursue lots of different things: happiness, money, freedom, etc. But the reality is that content creation now isn't. This is my alarm to get up yesterday when I took a nap because I was exhausted. But the reality is content creation is an absolute real job. And to reinforce that, I want to show some ways that I use content creation myself. Every day, I use content creation to teach. I use it to express myself. This is actually from Render last year. My ability to have a platform, a stage, an audience to talk to and share my journey and hopefully inspire developers of the community. My way to express myself. A way to entertain. A way to unite people, to bring people together, to give them something to be connected by or with. And then also to build an audience, which then enables you to do all of those things that much more. The more audience you have, the more impact that you can drive from the things that you do. That's not necessarily the primary focus, but it is an enabler to being able to scale your impact. So I pulled in a little research. There's an article from Forbes, and I'll give you a second to just type this into your phone if you want. Just kidding, there's a QR code. Feel free to scan that. There's a couple of headlines in here that directly relate to a lot of the things that I was already planning on talking about in my talks. We'll reference a couple of those headlines and talk about them more specifically and the impact again in my career. Give you another second just in case. Did anyone start to type it in when I paused for that? Good, because that would have been embarrassing for you. So in that article, they reference recent surveys talking about how content creator or YouTube star, whatever you want to call it, is one of, if not the most desirable job by kids today. Am I old enough to talk to other people as kids? I don't know. But people want to be content creators. They want to be YouTube stars. They're no longer talking as much about doctors or lawyers or basketball players or astronauts. People are talking about content creators. I'm a little bit of a celebrity in my family. My nephews are 8, 12, and 15, and they tell all of their friends their uncle runs a YouTube channel, to the point where I went to one of their track meets and they were like, oh my God, is that the one with the YouTube channel? That's what kids want. That's what they see. They watch YouTube. They watch TikTok. They are on Instagram. That's what they see, and that's what they think they want to do. You can kind of see the emergence of that, the continuation of growth of influencers and content marketers and content creators. It's been growing every year exponentially. There were other numbers I have that I'll skip. That's kind of like the market of billions of dollars that people are investing in content creators and influencer marketing, et cetera. But the reality is it's growing, and it's something that people are looking at and wanting to do more and more. But I want to talk a little more personally about what content creation means for me. And they have a headline in this article. Again, it aligns perfectly with what I already had prepared. It's not just about the visual content. It's not just about the final result. It's not just about the video that you watch or the article that you read. It's about a lot of other things. So as a content creator, it means that I am a videographer, a video editor, a sound engineer, a writer, a marketer, a copywriter, an admin, an accountant, a networker, and so much more. I have to do everything. People ask me if I have a team. I don't have a team yet. I have people that do different things at times, but I do a little bit of everything because I have to. What you see as a final result is the final result. There's a lot that goes into that beforehand. Because of that, it is a full-time job. We talked about, or introduction-wise, introduced the idea of working full-time and then doing content creation. Lots of content creators in here doing that right now, which is incredible. But it absolutely is or can be a full-time job and a full-time career for people. So I work for myself, and I bought myself this mug because I work for myself. I think I'm a pretty good boss, but that has really big implications for me. Because I work for myself, because I do content full-time, that means that I have 100% control over what I do. Every day, I wake up, I do exactly what I want, I do it exactly when I want, I do it exactly how I want. Every single day, I have 100% control and ownership over everything I do. It also means that I get to work from home with my wife. My wife transitioned into a tech career recently in the last year. We work from home. We're one of the cliche couples, don't judge us, that spend like every minute together. So we work at home together. We work in the same industry. We talk all the time. And we are enabled to do that because I get to work full-time for myself. It also means that I get to spend a lot of time with my 2-week-old baby Jamie. People have said they wouldn't judge this, but I probably would. Just to be clear, she's got help at home. The grandparents are there. She's got help. I didn't just abandon her. But this means that I don't have to make decisions about going to work or being with my baby. It means I don't have to make decisions to do other things and choose and pick time. We're all right there together, which is huge for me. The other aspect of this, and I think this is important, and you'll learn this a lot about me the more you hear me talk. Money is not everything. The most important thing for me is work-life balance. Number one, followed very closely by making a lot of money. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. If I can do something and my happiness comes first and I make a shit ton of money doing it, I'm going to do that. Now, the really, really cool thing about what I do that I've realized, and this is kind of a testament to that, is I am able, through content, to teach and inspire people all over the entire world. Can I share a little story with you about an example of that? Share it? So we were in Berlin. I don't know if you know where Berlin is. That's kind of far away from where we are now. For an event that my wife planned for Auth0. I was hanging out with a former teammate of mine, one of her current colleagues, and we were doing touristy stuff. We're going to do a bus tour where you ride around the bus and they say, here's the thing on the left and here's the thing on the right. It's actually really convenient, by the way, if you ever want to try that out. And so we're on the street in Berlin, and we go up to buy tickets from the guy like on the street, and we kind of walk up, and he's like, oh, do you do YouTube? I'm like, there's no way he's actually talking about me, right? And he's like, no, you do web development, YouTube videos. I'm like, are you serious? And so he continues to tell me, like, he's been transitioning. He's working, like, selling bus tour tickets. He's been working nights and weekends to learn JavaScript. He's looking to transition into a career in tech, and my videos have had an impact on his journey to help him understand and break down concepts that he had struggled with. And what was hilarious is the bus, after we bought the tickets, the bus is ready to leave. Like, this bus is packed. There's 50 people on the bus that are ready to go on the tour. He stops the bus driver to tell him, hold on a second, to ask me JavaScript questions on the street while the bus, like, everybody's ready to go. So honestly, I look like an asshole. But to think about someone on the other side of the world, I know from YouTube stats, I know I have people that watch in different areas. I know that, but to see that in person and to have that come to me through that conversation was crazy impactful. Another realization that I've had, and I think this is really important, is through YouTube, you can learn to do anything, including building stuff, if that's what you want to do. So both of these projects, on your left is built-in bench seating in our eat-in kitchen, and then on the right is like a faux fireplace that I built inside of our formal living room or whatever. These are projects that I built completely from scratch. I've been doing this for a couple of years now, but everything I know is from YouTube. So you can literally learn to do anything from YouTube/content in general. And so there's a quote that comes to mind. Has anyone seen this quote before? Heard this before? Spending time and money gaining knowledge. YouTube is the new school, forget college. Anyone heard that? Bars? If you said yes, I would probably say you were lying, except for a few people in here. So I'm not going to be able to play this because I don't want to take the risk with audio. But this is actually from a rap song that I wrote. Now, probably not what you're expecting when the white guy walked up on stage, that there would be a rap song involved. But I use rap as an outlet for myself, as a creative outlet. I've used it for good times and bad times, and I go to use lyrics as an outlet, as a journal, as a diary for me. Actually, the person that not necessarily taught me to do it, but taught me that I could do it is in the back of the room right now, my friend Reggie. Lots of people have met so far, so it's pretty cool to have that connection. So I had, say what? Reggie's more famous than me now, which is annoying. So I had a song called Road to 100K. It's a song about my journey to 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. Go and look it up later because I'm not going to take the risk audio-wise of playing it now. But, oh, that quote came from me. The point of that is, the reason I bring that up is not because I want you to buy my new mixtape, although if I ever did have one, you should buy it. But the point is that everyone has something special. Often what we forget is we are more as people than just developers. We have interests, we have experiences, we have things to bring to the table that are not just about writing code. I'm going to skip ahead to this. And so the point of that is that tech is more than just writing code. And more importantly, you are more than writing code. You all have interests, you all have experiences, you all have talents. The more I've gotten to know the developer community, the more I learn about people that's unrelated to development. And that's something that I like to encourage people to embrace, especially as you're looking, different talks have talked about this, as you're looking to transition careers, embracing your background and being able to use that as a selling point for yourself, because everyone has something to bring to the table, even if it's not obvious at first. So my journey, we'll go into a few different details in here, but I want to start with a little bit about my background growing up. My parents never made above a combined $45,000 growing up. It's not poverty, it's not like a sob story, but it's not a lot of money. Like, we had to make decisions of whether or not we were doing things for not having money, right? And so for my parents, they both had jobs, but they never had careers. They had to go to work, they had to pay the bills if they could. It was never something that they chose to do because they wanted to. It was a job, not a career. And so if you had told me, growing up, middle school, high school, maybe college, if you had told me that you could do something that you enjoy and also make good money, I would have had another similar reaction of, that's ridiculous. Jobs are not for fun. Jobs are not for enjoyment. Jobs are for getting the job done, making enough money to get by, and support your family. So I actually started my career in a point that drastically changed that opinion. I was interviewing with Microsoft. Coming out of college, I got rejected from 2 jobs, and they said, hey, what do you think about a developer evangelist job? I said, I don't know what that is, but you're Microsoft, so let's do it. I interviewed, and I started with Microsoft, and out of college was making 90 grand living in South Florida. I don't know how other people feel about that. If that seems impressive, this is not for me to brag, but that was a turning point in my life because I made really good money, and I learned that I was doing something that I absolutely loved. And so I found myself on stage giving presentations, teaching developers, doing all the things that I do now, and I absolutely loved it. For various reasons, I ended up moving on to FedEx as a software engineer and eventually an architect. And actually, kind of for salary reasons, like we'll kind of mention some of these numbers, moved from New York City to go back down to 70,000, and then worked back up to 90, but cost of living in Memphis is drastically different than New York, so I actually had like a higher standard of living, if you can believe that. But the thing that I had going into FedEx was through creating content, through being on a stage, through teaching people, through talking, I had found my superpower, which is my voice. I could communicate, I could stand up for people, I could stand up for myself, I could stand up for technology, I could communicate technical things to non-technical people. I could do all of that stuff because I had been on a stage and I'd been creating content at that point for 3 or 4 years. And so what that led to for me, as I communicated to my manager, I think I'm ready for the next level, is it ended up turning into a skip level promotion. I know none of you have probably worked at FedEx. Skip level promotions don't happen. I don't know if it's never happened. I might get claimed that just to, sell it a little bit more, but that's not a thing that happens. But through communicating and having my voice, they saw more of a leadership position because I could do things that they couldn't, other people couldn't, that were not just technical. I also was technical, but I had this superpower of my voice. Now, at the same time, I started to realize, as a software developer, I was missing doing this. I was missing the community. I was missing being at events. I was missing YouTube. I was missing all those things. So I started to do it on the side, and I realized, why don't I just get somebody to pay me to do this? So I started looking for roles, and I started at the company that my wife is at now, which is Auth0, and went from, at that time, a salary at FedEx of $90,000 to a salary of $120,000. I went from 2 weeks of vacation to unlimited vacation. I went from no stock options, never even hearing about stock options at FedEx, to stock options. Drastically improved where I was in my career. And the reason I bring this up, and the reason I'm really transparent, is not to brag. It is because I think it's important that you know that different companies will value you differently. I wasn't a different person. I didn't have a new degree all of a sudden. I was the same person with the same skills, but different companies will value you differently. If you look at what you're doing right now, and you look at my primary target being happiness and also money, I guarantee you there's another role out there, if you look, that you could be just as happy in that pays more money. I won't sacrifice my happiness for money, but I will chase happiness for more money. One of the other things that was really interesting in me applying for that role, and it was a developer advocate role, is that I had a portfolio, but maybe not in the way that you expect. So portfolio to most people means like, okay, I've got 3 projects that I did, here's what I did, here's the bullet points, here's what I can talk about in an interview. But those are different for everybody, so it doesn't just mean that, or it doesn't have to mean that. And for me, my content spoke for itself. A big part of what I would do in that role was create content, being on a stage, creating video content, live streams, etc. And my content speaks for itself. So what I mean, if you want to know that I know how to communicate, go watch one of my 500 videos on YouTube. If you want to know if I understand technical topics, go watch one of my 500 videos on YouTube. If you want to know if I can communicate technical topics to non-technical people, go watch the video. If you want to know if I can learn, go watch a video. Can build, go watch a video. Can teach, go watch a video. My portfolio was my YouTube channel and my content, and it speaks for itself. When you apply for your job and you say I'm a good communicator, it doesn't mean anything. When you show that you're a good communicator, they can see that. It speaks for itself. Which leads me to my YouTube channel. I started doing video content in 2014, not with any goal, not with any purpose, just kind of doing it. And in 2017, I started to take it more seriously. We all have different journeys in content, but that's kind of where I started to look at this as like, I want to take this a little more seriously. So in 2017, I had 32,000 total views, and I gained 163 subscribers. Just kind of starting to get back into it. 2018, more subscribers, more views. I started making money. I remember the day I texted Reggie in the back, the day I made 15 cents from YouTube ads. 15, I remember sending that text and us getting so excited about the potential to make 17 cents, right? Like that's the threshold I was getting to. 2019, you get to a little bit more. Made a couple $1,000s in ad revenue. Like now you can invest a little money in like a mic and a camera and that sort of stuff. You got a little bit to play with, but not a ton. 2020, a little bit more. Still pumping out content. You see some spikes in there. In 2021, something interesting happened. I had heard about people having videos that had gone viral. That never really happened for me until this point. And so this video got over 1 million views, and in that year that video did that, I exponentially increased everything about my YouTube channel and my presence to the point where I made $21,000 in YouTube ads. I gained 93,000 in YouTube subscribers, 5.2 million views after doing this for a handful of years. And I stress the handful of years because most people look at something like that and they think overnight success. You hear a musician for the first time, you think overnight success. You see a comedian, they're really good, overnight success. That's never the case. What you're not seeing is the hours of time that people put into that craft over the course of many, many years to get to that point. This is where you weren't shooting with me in the gym. Thank you for taking that away from me, by the way. That was a quote of mine. Not paying attention in school. Okay. So what you don't see is how I was working a full-time job, working 40, 50 hours a week and getting up early to create content, working on content on the weekends, working on content at night. I was doing all of this outside of working my full-time job. So when you see overnight success, pay more attention to or try to find out more about what went on behind the scenes to lead up to that. But the main thing that led to that was consistency. I didn't stop. I kept going over the course of multiple years, and I reached that level of plateau, but that doesn't mean I stopped. It means I keep going and build that into what I have today and more going forward. So what I would encourage people to do is just get started. In the article on Forbes, it says anyone can get started. It's attainable. You don't need a fancy camera. You don't need a fancy mic. You don't need all these things. Just get started. Now, I went through one more career transition and joined a company called PlanetScale. Different companies value differently. I went from $150,000 to $220,000, so I'm making $200,000+ in that year. On content on the side, I made about $60,000. So I'm literally at the plateau of life and career. Like, I'm fucking crushing it. We're going to Costco multiple times a week just to buy more stuff. If people know how much I love Costco, we were there 3 or 4 times a week just to see if they had anything new that we could buy. Like, I'm feeling good. And then things changed. I got a calendar invite from the CEO of my company for 15 minutes, not like super weird. Asked him like anything I should prepare, didn't hear anything, show up to the meeting, and HR is there, which is weird. And they say, we should wait for the CEO to get here. Weird. My wife and I are kind of in the same office at that point, and I text her, and I'm like, something's not right. He says, I regret to inform you this is your last day at PlanetScale. As he said that, signed out of everything. Some sort of developer IT magic goes on. Like, I don't know how he did it, but Slack, email, I'm signed out of everything immediately. So at that point, I had a dilemma. I had to choose which way I'm going. Am I going to try to get another job? Am I going to do things for myself? And what was really cool about this is because of the brand and the reputation that I built, when I mentioned that I was let go and I was maybe looking for opportunities, this was my DMs. Do you want to work for us? We'd love to talk to you about a role. This is not saying, hey, maybe you'd be interested. Send me your resume and I'll consider you. This is come interview or come work for us based on the reputation and brand and everything that I had built. And I decided at that point to become a full-time content creator. There's the sparks again. I have like 2 minutes left. I know I'm a little over, I apologize. So I show this really quickly. This is my handle. You can find me on Twitter and TikTok and YouTube and all the things. But this name, this handle, is everything to me. This is my brand, and my brand is the most valuable asset I will ever own. This brand means absolutely everything to me. And that is based on the years of creating content, of providing value, of showing up for people, being involved in the developer communities to lead me to the point where I can be on the stage and talk about this journey with you. So a few takeaways. There's nothing wrong with making money from the content that you create. I create lots of free, valuable content. I am also looking to make money from the content that I create. Your brand matters. It is, for me, the single most valuable asset that I own, that I have full control over. And for you, just get started. And so there's one homework assignment for you. Is to take that just get started and just share something. Whatever it is, a tweet, a blog post, a TikTok from like whatever you saw here, like just share something. Share something from what you learned at this conference. Share some takeaway that other people can benefit from. And if you make that a habit, you might be like Colby and Shonda and Bria and all the people that I mentioned before. You might make more money. You might make money on the side. You might find networking opportunities. You might find new jobs, new careers. Or you might be able to pursue your biggest dream in the entire world, to go full-time working for yourself and impact and teach people all across the world. Content creation has brought me to the stage. Content creation has helped me make money. It's helped me make friends. It's helped me make relationships. It's helped me do all these things. My name is James Q. Quick, and I am a full-time technical content creator. Thank you.